Hello my fellows, hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. As mentioned in my previous video, today I'm going to give you an update on my Hoyas. I put out a poll on my Instagram and this was one of the highly requested videos, so I hope you guys enjoy. And if you're new around here, my name is Grace and I post videos on houseplants, so if you are into that and if you like the vibe here, feel free to join the family, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you get notified when I post a new video. Most of you probably watched my Hoya collection video from 2021, and disclaimer, it's been 2 years since then, lots have changed. Some of my Hoyas have really thrived, some others have been attacked by mealybugs, and some have regressed due to the change in environment. If I covered all of that in one video, it's going to be really long, so I thought I'd break it up into the good, the bad, and the ugly. And for this video, I thought I'd focus on the good first, and then talk about the bad and the ugly in a separate lessons learned video. If you have any questions about any particular Hoyas that you saw in this video or did not see in this video, definitely leave it in the comments down below and I will address them in another video. Anyway, enough blabbing. I know you guys are wanting to see some eye candy, so let's get started. First up, we have my Hoya Snowball. We've actually got a fresh new leaf right here, so you can see the color is a bit different. This one has been filling out the trellis very nicely. I'll post a picture of what it looked like maybe a year or two ago. It was pretty bare around the trellis, but definitely filled out since then. A very underrated Hoya in my opinion, and one that I'm really enjoying at the moment. Next up, we have my arguably largest Hoya in my collection. That's my Hoya Obovata. That is really hard to hold at the moment. It's really unwieldy and the trellis is not very stable. This is one where I wasn't sure if I was gonna let it trail or grow on a trellis, and I think because Hoyas just generally prefer being supported, I thought I'd put it on a trellis, and it's absolutely loving this trellis. This one has a little bit of splashing, and I just really adore the shape of these leaves. They look like Mickey Mouse ears to me, and I think it's just really adorable. I'm just gonna leave it on here until it fills out the rest of the trellis, especially down here, and then I might consider upsizing it onto another like taller trellis, but that's where it's at the moment, and that's my Hoya Obovata. Next up is my Hoya Parasitica Heartleaf, which is I think the last of my Hoyas that I put on a trellis. This one's a little bit more slow growing than the other two that I showed earlier. When I first got it, it only had a couple of leaves down here, so all of this are new, quote unquote, and I think it's got a long way still before it fills out the vine, but it is actively growing, so I'm just waiting for it to fill out with new leaves. But this is another one that I really enjoy the look of. It's got lots of splashing on it as well. If you've watched my previous videos, you know I'm a huge fan of heart-shaped leaves, and this is one that kind of looks like it. It's not perfectly heart-shaped, but very similar. Next Hoya, we've got my Hoya Callistophylla Kalimantan, which has these beautiful veining on the leaves. This one has actually flowered for me before as well. I'll post some pictures of what the flower looks like. It's one of my favorite scents on a Hoya flower. It's got a really interesting like spicy citrusy sort of scent to it, which I really enjoy. It doesn't have any peduncles and it's not blooming at the moment, but I feel like this is one where I need to put on a trellis because once it feels supported, that's when it'll start to really sprout. In fact, when it was flowering, it actually was growing on my shelf, like on the side of the shelf, and really like anchored itself on there. So yeah, I just really need to put this on a trellis. But anyway, when I first got this, I think it only had leaves up top here, which I believe I included in my Hoya collection video, maybe, or one of my Hoya update videos. But all these are new leaves that it's put out. I've just twirled it around itself to give it a little bit more support. I'm definitely converting this one when I have a bit of time. Next up, we have my Hoya courtesya Thai-form that is absolutely loving life. You can see how much it is trailing. And this is definitely one of my faster growing Hoyas, like I've mentioned in my previous videos, which I'll link up above. But this is one that I have left in my grow tent, and it is just absolutely loving the grow lights. There are a lot of new vines that I can see it putting out, and also little leaves that have come through. Definitely an actively growing plant, and I just love how like lush it's looking at the top. My goal with this is to have a fully trailing plant all around the back as well. That's the update on my Hoya courtesya typeform, one of my absolute favorites. Next up we have my Hoya Sigillatis, which is this guy right here. Quite a slow growing one in my opinion. I have this growing right here in this room. It has given me several new vines, like this one here is a new one, and I believe this one here. It's still a small little guy compared to my other Hoyas because I did get this as quite a small little cutting. So I am still waiting for it to hit its stride, but this one is taking a little bit of its own sweet time. I'm not complaining though, so I'm just gonna enjoy the slow growth on this Hoya Sigillatis. If you're enjoying the video so far, please do me a favor and like the video. It really helps out the channel, and leave me a comment down below as to which Hoya surprised you the most and why. Next up we have my Hoya Wayetii and my Hoya Kentiana. So I believe I talked about these two Hoyas in my fastest growing Hoyas video, and I talked about how much I really enjoy the look of these like long bean shaped leaves, and I still do. This one here, the Hoya Wayetii, is maybe looking less full than the previous video because I had another one planted in there which I have since removed. So this is here just the one original plant, but there are multiple growth points, so I'm hoping that when we hit warmer weather here in Sydney it will grow a lot quicker for me. But we are currently in winter at the moment, so it hasn't really been doing that much growing. But I'm keeping an eye on this because, as you know, my goal with the Hoya Wayetii is to have a full lush basket of them, and I especially love when they are sun stressed because they get like a purple rim around the border. That's the vision for this guy, and I will keep you posted whether or not we get there. And this is the Hoya Kentiana. It's still in this little pot. I mentioned last year that I was going to repot it, but I never got around to it because, you know, life happens. I think I can see the roots are like really root bound now, so it is time to repot this little guy. And I mean it this time. In that previous video, some of the leaves were kind of growing sideways. It had a really weird growth pattern, but the vines have started to come down a little from the weight of the leaves, so it has a little bit more of a uniform look to it now. But you can definitely see it has grown quite a bit since the last video. So instead of the one lone trailer here, we've got two now, and I think all the other vines will be joining very soon. I can see that we've also got a couple of peduncles. This one hasn't ever bloomed for me before, so I'm really excited to see what the flowers look like on this. I think the peduncles are quite progressed or advanced, or whatever you want to call it. So you can see that here, and then there's another one. I'm really excited for some flowers this spring, and I think it's also pushing out a new vine right here. So when I first purchased this plant, it was literally like one lone vine, and that was maybe 2 to 3 years ago now. But fast forward till now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 7th vine coming out of this plant. That's very exciting, don't you think? Oh, before I forget, I did purchase a Hoya Wayetii variegated over a year ago now. I never updated you guys on, but here it is. The beauty about the variegated Hoya Wayetii is that it looks tricolored. You get the green, you've got a little bit of like cream or yellow going on, and when it sun stresses you get a bit of red in the leaves as well, as you can tell right in the middle. And it has been growing pretty well for me, I have to say. I just have it in my second bathroom, and watering was super easy. I feel like it's in a really good, well draining substrate, so it doesn't get root rot or anything like that. And it is pushing out 2 new vines for me. I'm not sure if you can tell, right in the middle there's actually 2 new growth points. As you know, variegated plants tend to grow a little bit slower than their non-variegated counterparts just because there's less chlorophyll, but this one is surprising me. Next up we have my Hoya Burtoniae and my Hoya Honeydew. The only 2 Hoyas that I have growing in these baskets. They've definitely got a lot longer since I updated you guys on them. I have this growing in the second bathroom, and I can see that there are a couple of new leaves. Lots of new vines shooting out over here, and new leaves pushing out as well, as you can see right there. Next we have my Hoya Honeydew, which is one of the most resilient Hoyas I have. I really like feeling this one. It's similar to the Burtoniae. It does have a little bit of fuzz, not too much, but enough that you can feel it. There's not a lot to report though with this one because it didn't look drastically different than before, but it is chugging along. Alrighty, and finally we've got my Hoya carryeye variegata, which has definitely grown a lot taller since I last showed you guys. If you watch my Hoya collection video from 2021, you'll know that I really struggled to grow Hoya carryeyes because the leaves often end up looking like this as opposed to nice and flat and heart-shaped. But I have been trying and I think I'm getting some better luck. Not 100% success rate, but these ones here do look a little bit better than before. So, you know, fingers crossed I actually cracked the code on how to grow these Hoya carryeyes. I'm still experimenting, to be honest with you. So I've got this one growing in a mixture of spag and a little bit of soil, but mostly spag moss, because I heard that they like to be a little bit more moist than other Hoyas, and that will help it grow a little bit nicer, I guess. But one thing that I really appreciate about this particular Hoya is that the leaves grow at the same rate as the vines. So instead of having vines just shooting out without any leaves, this one pushes out the leaves kind of along the way as well, which I really appreciate. I really need to put this on a trellis at some point because it's definitely looking for some support. I need to go and look for some trellises because I've already used up all of mine. And if I do find any that I really like, I'll definitely let you guys know. By the way, guys, after a very successful over a year plant ban, I have accidentally bought some Hoyas, so I do plan on filming a Hoya haul video, which I will post after that map grow, how to grow with map grow video. How to grow with map grow. Anyhow, that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay mellow, my fellows.